Little girl suddenly spat out a stone from her mouth, and her body was covered in bruises. The neighbors saw this and began gossiping, saying that the girl's life was now worse than a dog's. This was because her mother died from complications during the birth of her second child, and her father committed suicide shortly after. The villagers then left, clearly disgusted, until a widow passed by and, seeing how pitiful the girl was, carried her home on her back. However, when the woman arrived home, she left the girl outside the door because she needed her mother-in-law's permission first. When her mother-in-law saw the filthy, foul-smelling girl, she covered her nose in disgust. She bluntly said that it was bad enough the woman couldn't have children of her own, and now she dared to adopt someone else's child. But the woman firmly replied that she would take care of the girl and would not trouble her mother-in-law. While they were arguing, the girl could no longer bear her hunger and grabbed a raw ear of corn nearby, starting to gnaw on it. Seeing this, the woman immediately tried to stop her, as she had just promised not to cause her mother-in-law any trouble. But the girl pleaded, saying she hadn't eaten in 4 days, and she was starving. The mother-in-law, enraged, shoved the girl out the door and didn't allow the woman to help her. That night, as the woman and her mother-in-law were sleeping, they suddenly heard a noise outside. The mother-in-law got up to investigate. When she saw that the little girl was still at the door, she immediately questioned her, asking if she was staying to steal something. But the girl held out her bruised hands and said she had been working to help the grandmother. She begged the grandmother not to drive her away, promising that she would wash clothes, cook, and do many chores for her. The woman, seeing this, pleaded on the girl's behalf, asking to let her stay. The mother-in-law, realizing the girl could be useful, agreed to let her stay, on the condition that the girl would do all the housework from then on. The next day, the woman gave the girl a thorough bath and told her to come to her if she ever felt wronged. Then, the woman noticed a valuable jade pendant around the girl's neck. She asked the girl where the pendant came from. The girl replied that it was her mother's keepsake. Little did she know, the girl's mother was actually the daughter of the wealthiest man in the capital. The girl's grandfather had spent vast amounts of money searching for her. Finally, on this day, he learned of the girl's whereabouts. So, the wealthy man instructed his assistant to bring the girl back no matter what, because he no longer had any other heirs. The little girl was his only heir. Meanwhile, the little girl followed the grandmother's orders, working tirelessly every day. But the grandmother still felt the girl wasn't doing enough, and often used this as an excuse to withhold food from her. Although the woman felt deep pity for the girl, she had no say in her husband's household. So, the woman took out her own money, hoping to fulfill one of the girl's wishes. But the girl, being very thoughtful, asked the woman what her wish was. The woman's wish was to have a child and raise them to become a college graduate. But unfortunately, she was unable to conceive. She had been unable to have a child for years. Upon hearing this, the girl knelt in front of the woman, asking to be her goddaughter. She promised she would fulfill her godmother's wish by studying hard and getting into college. But the grandmother was not pleased, because sending the girl to school would cost money. Seeing the grandmother's disapproval, the woman hurriedly took out her savings and said she would cover the expenses without troubling the grandmother. But the grandmother became even more upset and tried to grab the money from her.